that squash color.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
This is like more mustard yellow.
Or straight up, hot mustard, which...
Hot mustard. Thanks, Jace. Okay, Andy, help.
All right, here in the Zoom room where, of course, all the cool kids hang out. And over the weekend, we got a press release from Senator Amanda Shelton about a recent inauguration of a different kind. It's the 33rd Guam Youth Congress, and we have some of our Congress people joining us here in the Zoom room. All of you, a good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, pretty big honor to be inaugurated into the Guam Youth Congress. Before we get to your individual roles, I'd like to talk about the Guam Youth Congress as a whole and what its role is in the community and for you, the youth, and how you got interested in it.
Okay. I think I could start. So the Guam Youth Congress is an action body organization. We are under the Guam legislature. And essentially what we do is we have a representative from every school and every village. They represent the constituents in their village, roughly ages. To be a representative, you have to be 14 to 24. That's the time you age out. But what we do is we introduce legislation, kind of like how our senators do. We have committees, committee hearings, and so we really try to mirror the legislature, and we have the same exact format as well. And so every session, every month, kind of like our senators, we go in, we discuss the bills. Once it's passed by our body, it goes to our oversight chair, which will then be introduced into the Guam legislature. Some of these bills that came from the Youth Congress is Bill 155, sponsored by Senator Bisco Lee, which is the Youth First Aid Mental Health Act of 2019. That was a Youth Congress bill. Plastic ban bill is also a Youth Congress bill. And so we see right now, we can see a lot of bills that are within the Guam legislature that kind of originates from the Youth Congress. So that's kind of a snippet of what we do. We also have committees, kind of like our senators. We have public safety, health, tourism. So we really try to mirror our senators.
So this is like the Congress Junior, so to speak. And did you all get into this because you have dreams of possibly a career in politics someday?
I mean, as for me, I do believe service above self. I want to give back as much as I can to my island. Public service is the route that I chose to go. And that's kind of what I plan to do. And maybe I plan on running for senator one day, don't know yet, but I will say that being in the Youth Congress gives me that background, gives me the experience, the firsthand experience of doing motions, introducing legislation, getting the votes. So thank you.
So Stephanie, we want to hear from your other your colleagues here. So Al, Kiana, Nolan, feel free to jump in here. What's been your role getting into the Guam Youth Congress?
So for me, I started the Youth Congress as a JFK high school student, and it's funny because no one wanted to run as a Youth Congress for our school. So I put my hand in, and luckily I got into the Guam Youth Congress, and here now I'm on my.
You gotta love it when you run unopposed, huh?
Yes. So yeah. So yeah, this is my.
Do you have dreams of a possible future in politics?
I don't want to say that yet, but currently I'm planning to go to law school, and I think Guam Youth Congress helped me think through the policy aspect of the law itself.
Kind of on-the-job training, so to speak. You get a good idea of how these laws, because in school you learn, all right, the bill is presented and it goes to committee and then all this, but actually being part of the process gives you a pretty good understanding of it.
Definitely.
Kiana, would you care to jump in?
Sure, yeah. So I ran for Youth Congress when I was a freshman in college. I'm a sophomore now. I actually didn't win that election, so I ran again, and here we are, and it feels great.
You're not bitter, are you, about that first loss, are you?
Andy,
no.
I think it's Kiana versus Nolan that time.
Yeah, it was me versus Nolan Flores.
But now we're colleagues, so we can all get along.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, it was a really good thing that he won, because at the time I was just really, I guess I was really inexperienced in a lot of ways. And I knew I wanted to be part of something, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do yet. And this year when I ran, I had a solid platform, so it all feels really great. Actually, never wanted to get into politics. My superlative in high school was most likely to be governor, and I was so upset. I was like, I will never get into politics. I started as a nursing major, and then I had a great opportunity to intern at the legislature. And after that summer, I switched my major to political science, and now I just really want to be, a leader in our community now and in the future. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's good that, a lot of people go through that at a young age. You're not sure what you want to do. I mean, your parents have an idea and you're just kind of feeling it out as you go. And then for some reason you got into this, this service to the people, and you're like, okay, this is something I can kind of get on board with. Is that kind of how it played out?
It's crazy, yeah.
Well, just make it up as you go. I appreciate that. Nolan, so we're talking to you now. We'd like you to jump in. How did you get involved in the Guam Youth Congress, and of course, defeating one of your now colleagues in that previous election?
Oh yeah, that's a funny story Kiana likes to tell, but I'm glad we both represent the university now, so that's good. And for me, it started, I knew about Youth Congress like going through high school. I didn't know too much about it. Our school didn't have a rep. So I didn't really get involved until college, when a few people, Al, Stephanie, were telling me I should join Youth Congress. So then I looked into it, and then I ran. I won that election, and I served half a term since it was a special election. And I think I did a lot of, I learned a lot during that half term, which is a little weird, right? Because it's only a year and everyone's kind of already set in their positions and stuff. But I think I made a lot of new friends. I learned a lot of the process of it, and then I decided to run again. So this is my first actual full term. So yeah.
I see you've already got the senator shirt down. So is there a future?
Oh yeah.
A future in politics for you?
Love the floral. Matches the last name.
So I wanted to ask you guys, you're in the Youth Congress. I am not so much a youth anymore. I'm 44 years old. So our interests are probably a little bit different. So what are some of the things you feel that the adults are kind of passing off that is not important to them, but you feel is important to you, so you would like to present to the Congress? Anyone, feel free, jump in.
Well, I mean, we had I briefly mentioned it, but on K57, I wanted to do a lot of cottage food. With the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of home-based bakeries. And so I think one of the policies that I want to push for this term is for cottage food. That means the hot cocoa bombs, the bakery, just kind of getting more local support for that. And so that's one of the things I want to push for. But I know the representatives that weren't able to come today, they're pushing for a more sustainable local future. I know my legislative secretary, Kiana, wants to do a styrofoam ban, so we talk about that as well. We do have a lot of policies that we want to implement in the next 2 years that is, for a sustainable future, a circular economy, and so a lot of those ideas.
Okay, Al, Kiana, anyone?
For me, hopefully keeping our college education and healthcare more affordable, and as well as reforming the youth justice system, basically. And I know that DYA has been working on that, and I have some ideas on how to make the youth system better.
Yeah, I think Madam Speaker summed it up at her inauguration address. A lot of us, we might not all have an interest in politics or being leaders, but we have these individual interests related to climate change, decolonization, that really, once we put it together, once we learn about each other's issues, and more importantly, the solutions, that's when we put forward that voice of the youth, right? That's really powerful to let the adults know what we want, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's mentioning such great things in terms of, what the youth want. I mean, personally, my platform is centered around empowering women, destigmatizing mental health, and, sustaining the environment. And I'm just now realizing when you ask that question, those are all things that, a couple years ago, they weren't that popular topics. There weren't a lot of women in government. And now look at us, the Youth Congress has a female majority, and the Guam legislature has a female majority in the 35th and now in the 36th. You know, mental health wasn't always taken really seriously, but now, especially with COVID, we're seeing just how serious it is, right? And in terms of sustaining the environment, you know, the new plastic bag ban actually just got passed, which again, I believe started in the Youth Congress. And it's great to see because those landfills, they fill up, and you know, in the future, we're the ones that's going to have to take the brunt of that. It affects us, you know, in the next 50, 60 years, we'll be here. Some of the older adults won't be here. So, you know, yeah.
I feel like that was directed at me, Kiana. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to be here forever.
Oh, I'm looking forward.
But you know, it's interesting to get your perspective because a lot of times, you know, in politics and things like that, a lot of adults can be, oh, the kids, you know, they have their crazy ideas, but you know what, just never mind, leave it up to the adults. So you and the rest of the 33rd Youth Congress, you're actually in a position to, you know, take these things that are, you know, the younger generation has taken to heart and try to implement them, try to get them to the legislature. So it's a pretty big responsibility. I feel like, you know, you're standing up there for the youth of Guam, and it is a big role. So what would you like to say to the sitting senators in the Guam legislature about what you've got planned for this Congress?
To the senators in the 36th Guam legislature, we hope to have a lot of collaboration in the future. We're going to be going to you. We're going to be asking questions because, you know, we're still the youth. We don't know the ins and outs yet. And so please don't be annoyed by us if we keep asking questions because we want to learn more and we want to learn how we, on our level, on the youth level, how can we help implement these policies that are important to us. So a lot of collaboration and a lot of support. Thank you.
Nolan?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Just a lot of be expecting collaboration between us. A lot of pestering you. Maybe once our bills.
Oh, you
pass,
kids, you pestering kids. Jeez,
yeah,
that was adults
even in
alone.
the Youth Congress. Because once our bills pass, they also, if we want them to become law, they also have to pass through the legislature. So we're gonna have to find the senators that are interested in our bill and say, hey, how's my bill doing? Has it been referred yet? Stuff like that. So I think maybe, no, I don't mean to say we work harder, but there's a longer process for us.
Al?
I agree with Stephanie and Nolan, and you know, it's just a matter of working together for the betterment of our island, especially for the youth of Guam. And also, like, I hope that please take into account that whatever policy that you make, it affects the future of our island.
Yeah, it really does. Kiana?
Yeah, to the 36th Guam legislature, everybody said it already. But for me personally, it's my first term, so I'm planning on making a lot of noise. So please don't close your curtains, you know, open them up. I listen to all the things that me and, you know, my constituents and all the youth have to say, because I know we hear it all the time, right? Where it's like, oh, but you're just kids, what do you know? But I think you'd be surprised just how much we actually know. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, as you all said, you know, these problems that we're all facing now, they're going to be handed off to you in the future. So we need to ensure that, you know, this success we have continues, and you're part of the group that's going to be, you know, bringing those issues up and then passing that on to the next Congress. So like I said, a lot of responsibility. And before we wrap this, I wanted to ask you all, kind of put you on the spot. But is there one particular senator in, you know, current or previous Guam legislature that you really looked up to and kind of led you down this path?
I'd like to go first.
Okay.
So I told the story earlier about how I got an internship in the legislature, and that's what put me here. And the senator that I was under for that, and that I'm still currently under, is Senator Regine Bisco Lee. She unfortunately she didn't run again, so she doesn't have a seat in the 36th, but she has just been such a great, you know, female mentor in my life. I've never had, even when I took a break from interning for her, and she still contacted me like, hey, do you need anything? You know, let's come and talk, have a coffee. And, you know, it's just those little things that really made me feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And when you're young, I think that's a really important feeling to have. So Senator Lee, I think she's hosting K57 right now, so she won't see this, but thank you so much. You're one of the reasons I'm here, and I'm gonna make you proud. So let's do it. And I'm gonna stand up and stand out. So let's do it.
I guess for me, I really want to thank Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes. I've been in the Youth Congress for like the last 5 years, and every time I go to her asking for questions, she will help me as much as she can. So she's been a really great mentor in my life and in my progress coming to this moment. I do look up to her so much that I wanted to run, and I became Speaker of the Youth Congress. So I really have to thank her for always answering all my questions, helping me whenever I needed help with bill formatting, and so I really want to extend my appreciation to her because she has done so much for me to get me to this point.
Fantastic. Al?
For me, it will be Senator Amanda Shelton, because me and her, I kind of interned for her for a few months, and I like how we both worked on the same issues like college and for the youth, and of course the senior citizens. And that's why I look up to her.
Nolan?
Yeah, so for me, might be a little funny because I'm actually registered as a Democratic Socialist in the GYC, in the Guam Youth Congress. So an even more progressive Democrat, right? But my journey started in the Public Policy Institute created by Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes, or recently by Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes, yeah, formerly by Speaker Judy Wampat and Senator Will Castro. So it's Senator Will Castro who I interned with, and he was very instrumental in, shaping my ideas as a leader, my style of leadership, and he still provides a lot of that support today, a lot of the encouragement, and just always offering that, like these guys said, that helping hand when I need. So yeah, thank you, Senator Castro. He won't be in the 36th, but I look forward to what he's doing next, and I hope to maintain that relationship with him. Yeah.
Good. Being able to reach across the aisle, I feel like we need a lot more of that in today's day and age. And the four of you and the rest of your Youth Congress, you have some great role models to look up to, and you've been able to be mentored by these wonderful people. And hopefully someday you'll be able to mentor another younger person getting into the Guam Youth Congress. So we're looking forward to watching your careers, and we're looking forward to watching the legislation that you propose. And congratulations, and thank you all for joining the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Stand out, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you very much. That is the newly inaugurated 33rd Guam Youth Congress. Well, 4 of them at least. And it's nice to talk to them and see what's on their mind. So we are going to take a break right now. The link will be back after this.
Let's get merry during the most wonderful time of the year by making